Welcome.
Hello, hello.
So happy to be here. So happy to be here in this present moment with you. So I'm Dr. Sabrina counseling psychologist, energy psychologist, shamanic healer, multidimensional new Earth alchemist, or whatever the hell I call myself these days. And this is in energy therapy with Lilli Badcock. So Lilli, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I am Lilli Badcock, as Sabrina said. I'm an energy healer, sound Reiki master, professional singer, choir master, director, podcast host, mum, wife, infinite being, all the things.
I love that. Infinite being should cover all the labels, right?
Should, yeah, just start with that.
Yeah, and so Lilli has amazingly and generously and excitedly agreed to be the part of my pioneering experiment where I got this guidance to start offering live therapy sessions that could be recorded, that were going to be recorded and put on a podcast, both on YouTube and on all the other audio podcast platforms. So this is the first episode of that. And I had a conversation depth with Lilli to make sure that she was offering freely her consent, that she completely understands what's involved. And I just want to check with you, Lilli, are you still happy to give your consent for this recording, for this to be viewed by the public?
100%. Yep.
Okay. And do you have any concerns about that we haven't discussed?
No, I really don't. We'll see at the end.
It's an experiment, exactly. And as I said to you, Lilli, at any point you can use a safe word. Do you have a word you want to use, or just pause recording?
Yeah, I mean, I no, it's fine. I'll do this. Help. It's fine.
Okay.
No. So, I'll just wave, but I honestly, I'll be so surprised if I feel like I need to do that.
But it's very important from my professional point of view that all parts of you hear this.
Yes. Yeah.
The priority for me is you, not my audience that is going to be watching this, although my audience is very lovingly welcome here. And the whole point of this is we feel something is going to be really helpful.
Yes.
That's why we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
But at any point, if there's something too sensitive that you don't want to be publicly known, we'll pause the recording and we'll restart it after that.
Yeah.
So that's how this is going to work.
Yes.
So Lilli and I have worked in the past, and we're getting back into sessions after a pause period of 9 months ish, something like that. Who knows?
I feel like it's longer than that. I can't remember.
It was the summer holidays that we paused.
Oh, it was. Yeah, no, it was. Yeah.
So excited to see where Lilli is at now. And from now on, I'm going to just talk to you as if it's just you and me in the room. I'm going to forget that we're on a video screen.
Yes.
That works much better for me. And those of you who don't know me, I yawn. It's not me being rude. It's not me falling asleep on my client. I process energy that way. And it's my way of, I just can feel it building up. That's why I'm saying it already. It's my way of tuning into the field, processing energy. It's also a yes when there's like a affirmation or a question. So Lilli, let's go for it. Why are you here today? What are you in need of? What kind of help do you need? Or what is it that you're exploring at the moment?
Okay. So obviously when we started working together, it was very much around the anxiety. I had health anxiety at the time. And very much, I very much had a feeling of, I'm not fully stepping into the person I'm supposed to be in relation to my gifts, etc. Since that time, I've qualified as a sound Reiki master. I've been doing sound baths. I'm getting really well known very quickly for the work that I do. So it's really cool actually to just take a moment and go, oh my God, like that all happened, It's
amazing. Like full body tingles when you say that. And it's so exciting for me to watch.
Yeah.
That
occurring. And I'm so grateful. So where I feel like I'm at, I don't feel like I'm stuck anymore. I feel like I'm rumbling on really nicely. I don't even feel like I'm out of control. I just feel like I'm on my path. I feel like it's unfolding. I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of what's coming. And that's great. And I'm good with the fact it's going to take its time, because I think if it all arrived at once, my head would probably just spin off its shoulders. So I don't feel in a negative place at all. But something has come up for me in my own practice. Obviously now I'm an energy healer too, and so I'm working constantly with aligning my chakras, and I feel like there is something deep rooted in my heart that gets to be released. And I've obviously done work on myself, but as you know, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do, there's something about another person facilitating that for you, because it's like if I go to the gym, I'm not going to beast myself as much as if I go with my personal trainer, right? I'm going to sit on the bike and just watch the telly. But when my personal trainer is there, she makes sure that I sweat. So, so I think there's something in my heart that gets to be fully healed now, or acknowledged, maybe. There is an element of fear around that for me, because I'm not someone that enjoys, like, I don't like crying for the sake of it. I don't watch sad films to have a good cry like some people do. I don't get that at all. And I know I haven't been ready to do this previously. It's come up a few times. Different people, like Reiki healers, have gone, oh, there's something. And I'm like, yeah, no, you're not coming in. There's very few people I would trust to go there, but you're one of the people I would trust to go there with. And the fact that I know that we're doing this in full view of everyone, but I feel like, I said this to you before we came on the recording, I actually feel like it's part of how I'm supposed to help people. And I feel strong enough to share. Having said that, I have no idea what's in there. So it's just going to be very interesting what comes up as a result of that, because I actually don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just the sense that I'm getting.
Very interesting. Yeah, so what I'm hearing is there's fear about it, because it's not something you would normally actively seek to unearth the thing that potentially could cause some emotional distress. But equally, something has shifted for you because you're actually ready to look at this. It feels like it's calling you, if I'm hearing.
Well, I fully understand that if you don't heal what's stuck, it can cause real havoc. So I lost one of my best friends to cancer, and she fully believed that's what her cancer was. And even in that knowledge, she just wasn't in that place, like so many of us aren't, to go there. But she did believe that, and it's kind of stayed with me. And obviously now in my work, I'm constantly working with other people's energy and helping them to release it. And I will say to anyone that listens, you've just got to let it out. Crying is not a bad thing, but I think I grew up thinking it was. So I've got this thing, but also because I understand that it gets to be released, I'm ready to let it go, whatever it may be.
I love it. I love what you're saying. It makes complete sense to me. And it's just a good reminder that we're not one person. We have lots of different parts that have developed for various reasons, some to protect us and defend us, some hold vulnerable stuff that has been shut away. And so that's what comes to mind as you're talking. It's like crying is a bad thing sounds like some learnt defense that was necessary, that belongs somewhere inside you, maybe directly related to this heart thing, is also what I'm wondering.
Yeah, well, so I have something that came up which has just popped into my head, and I think it might be relevant. And this came up in a soul child healing that I did on myself. So this is part of the work I do as a sound Reiki practitioner, and it's basically inner child, where you go back and look at inner child stuff. And I've always had a sense, I've always thought something happened when I was younger, and I had nothing to base that on. It was just things that have come out in journaling over the years. And I was like, then I was like, oh, am I just trying to find something bad that happened because everyone else seems to have had something? And I never felt like I had anything. So anyway, in this session, I identified 2 soul children out of alignment. It was my age 3 and 4. And basically what happened at age 3 then impacted what happened at age 4. So at age 3, I developed the core belief that when I speak, I'm not heard. And I imagine it was something really innocent, like I probably needed to say something to my mum and she was probably busy. I see myself do this all the time with my kids, where I'm like, not now, not now, not now. And I think it was probably just something like that. But as a result of that, something then happened when I was 4 that I then didn't speak up about. And I don't think anybody knows. And I just want to say at this point, I don't know if this happened. This is just what came up when I did this work on myself. And it was relative to a friend of mine. It was her dad. And I felt like something had happened there. Now, I was worried it was something really sinister, but I think what happened was, I think I was naughty, and I think he disciplined me and hit me. And then I didn't tell, because I'd already learned that when you speak, you're not heard. Like, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, no one's going to pay attention anyway, there's no point. So I just held on to it. And I think that might be where my I was going to say my hatred of men. I don't have a hatred of men, but I never, like growing up, when all my friends were desperate to get boyfriends, I was adamant that I didn't want one, didn't need one. Like, I was so irritated by boys trying to, you know, have my time. I'm very unusual in that I've only ever slept with 2 people. I married them both. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, I know I'm unusual in that way. And I've always felt like it's because I don't feel like many people get to have that. You know, I'm like, I know what I'm worth, and I think it's a good thing. But now, having unearthed that, I'm like, oh, did I just have this? There's just this thing about, like, I will not have a man be above me. I will not have a man discipline me. I will not have ask my husband. I will not be told. So yeah, really interesting. And like I say, just, you know, for full disclosure, I'm not saying it absolutely happened. I don't know. It just, that is what came up when I did this work on myself. So
yeah, and that's super helpful to know that. And also, in a way, whether it happened or not, for the purposes of the work we're doing, doesn't really matter. What matters is your experience, what comes up in your body,
right,
the association that comes up for you, whatever that represents for you, however that translates in how you're relating to yourself and other people. That is there. And we can sometimes get really stuck with worrying, oh my God, did that happen? Did that not happen? And sometimes it feels very important for these parts of us for that to be acknowledged when something has happened, especially if it wasn't spoken about.
Yeah.
But it's almost like that's more important, because the details of what happened, all of us distort memories anyway. The fact that you felt you couldn't speak up for whatever reason, that you wouldn't be heard, and that something happened that you had to manage by yourself, that you had to hold by yourself. And at age 4, that's a lot to have to hold something like that.
Yeah.
So something inside you, I think, learned, if I'm hearing you correctly, to hold things.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And that would make sense as well, because that's who I became to everyone around me as well. I was like, you tell me your problems, tell me your secrets. I have a huge capacity to hold pain for people. And for myself as well. You know, I was the queen of the mask when I had that anxiety. A lot of people wouldn't have known. They only knew because I told them. I'm the queen of the poker face when it comes to that, which is odd, because in any other situation I'm useless at that. I would always, usually it's like heart on my sleeve, I'm an open book, and you know how I'm feeling. But when I really don't want you to know, you won't know. You literally won't. And even now, like, I'm still not a fan of, I fully believe in sharing. I love the power of women in a circle, for example. I love facilitating that. I don't love sharing myself though. I'll probably still not share, not really. I'll give them something so they feel like I participated, but I'm like, because I don't want to share that. I'm very private in that. I like to just, you know, let me figure this out for myself over here. And then I promise I'll come back and share, you know? So this is actually massively significant, isn't it?
Yes, I was just thinking that as you were saying that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is fascinating. This is what happens. So the defense is, I mustn't share.
Yeah.
I need to hold it together. I have a great capacity for holding. You probably do have a massive capacity, hence why you were able to do that. So that is both a defense and a gift, right? And what happens when we do it as a defense, the part that's defending, underneath that defense is a deep need for the opposite normally. So there's a deep need to be heard and seen, like you said, that wasn't met. So you dealt with that need that wasn't met very skillfully by not having that need. I don't need to do that. I can hold it together. In fact, you share your stuff, I'll hold it for you.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing more powerful than that to make us feel empowered, powerful. And by the way, this is the theme for most healers, therapists, helpers. That's why we're so good at what we do.
Yes.
so there is underneath that though an unmet need. And so what I love about the thing that you said when you agreed to do this here, it was like, no, I want to share myself. I want to share, like, I'm so ready. I'm already sharing all of myself. I want to do even more. So what I'm hearing is there's these two parts going on. One that says, no, I'm very private. And the other that's like, I want to be on the internet and tell everyone everything.
Yeah. And it's just occurred to me while you were talking, two things. I'm writing stuff down as you talk so that I don't forget.
Too. Yeah, go for it.
So I wrote down being seen as weak. I've had this thing throughout my internet life. So since 2015, which is when I kind of ventured into this, I was very keen not to be seen as weak. So I would share in groups, but I always felt like I had to, like I would share my struggle, but I always had to have a resolution at the end of it. Like, and I always had to be seen as, oh, but she's figured it out now. And I don't feel like that today. I feel like I'm genuinely here as me, because I know I have figured a lot of stuff out and I know I have great stuff to share. But I also feel like I don't feel like I have that veil down today. I'm not trying to be seen as anything at all. So there's that. And then the other thing was, it's kind of linked to that. So that fear of being seen as weak meant that really I never truly felt seen. And even physically, I have physically done things, and I've had conversations with coaches, and so many people have said to me, how are you not already a 6 or 7 figure business owner? You're doing all the things. Why don't people know who you are? And I still get messages from people going, oh, do you like singing then? I'm like, how can you not know I don't like singing? Like, it's just unbelievable to me. But so I have felt like I've had this invisibility cloak. I'm pretty sure that came up in a session with you, actually. I feel like this is familiar. This feeling of, I feel invisible. I feel like no matter what I do and no matter what I say, I feel invisible. Now, the weird thing is I feel like that less now.
Yeah.
But that has been a common theme. And and I guess, like, even looking at last night, we were working on the sales page for our retreat. This is a huge thing. And there was loads of issues getting that to go live. There are still lots of physical things that, regardless of what I do, are still sweeping in. And I feel like that's me somewhere energetically going, no, not yet. We're not ready. But I also think this has come at the right time, because I'm at the point in my path where the veil has to come off. I have to be seen because I have something huge to share. It's so vital that people know that they have the power to heal themselves. And if they can't find me and if they can't hear me, I'm going to get back to wherever I came from, and they're going to be like, dude, no.
Where were you? We didn't find you. We were looking for you. Where were you?
Yeah, no. And it's that thing, isn't it? It's like, when somebody, I do this a lot still. When you are actually massively overwhelmed and there's important work to do, so you busy yourself doing other stuff that really doesn't matter. It feels like the same thing. It was like, I've been very visible in all kinds of ways, but not really in the way that mattered. And there's been no clarity and there's been no certainty on my end. Well, that has massively shifted for me, and I feel very clear now. And even if uncertainty comes up, it doesn't feel like it's me anymore, so I can easily just brush it back off. It's like, oh, it's just like old remnants, like God, I speak in metaphors a lot. I see a lot of visions when I speak, but it's like, when loads of bats fly out of a cave and you get like the millions and millions and millions, and then you always get like the stragglers at the end. This feeling of uncertainty and this feeling of I don't know who I am, like, these are the stragglers now. Like, most of it's gone, and it's just we've got a few little bats kind of flying out of the holes going.
I love
what
that.
A picture.
I love that. I love your pictures. Keep bringing your pictures. That makes complete sense to me. And also, I just am reminded of the mantra that I always hear in my head, and I always say, you're right on track. Because we also have this super ego part of us that's constantly judging us for where we're not yet and what we haven't done and how we did this. And in my experience, this is the path. The path unfolds through us. And what you're describing is completely typical of anyone with gifts stepping fully into them, with these kind of gifts that we're sharing here, which is a big bloody deal that in this day and age, we can share them publicly without
Right.
being killed. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible if you think about it. So it's like, it's huge. And
that,
so many healers. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just going to say that's come up in energy healing I've done previously. I also work with a lady called Lisa Wolf. She has an online thing because she's in America, so we're nowhere near. But she said to me once, my journey is about my lineage. It is. I've got all these women behind me that weren't heard, weren't seen,
That's important
got burned, got killed. And she was like, you are the one that's I can't remember the words that she used, but it was, the buck stops here. This will not happen to your daughter.
Oh, I'm getting full body goosebumps. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also, like, that shows like the huge, in a way, responsibility we might feel we're carrying, and the huge impact of that. And there's so many different parts of us involved in this process, in this journey. So what you're describing is a completely natural part of the process. You're stepping more and more into clarity, into who you really are, into therefore being able to be fully like grounded in this work that you're doing. And I can see that in you. And so you are grounding it now more than ever. Like, you're really bringing it into form, aren't you? It's like, and there are, in this journey, usually at this stage, there are stragglers. Is that the right expression? Did I get that right? The bats?
So yeah,
the bat stragglers.
The stragglers. Yeah.
Sometimes, because English isn't my first language, sometimes I get words wrong. The stragglers come up at this point, and spot on. And it's very interesting, because, to be honest, most of the clients I'm seeing right now are coming with this kind of thing. So I think it's very interesting. So yeah, I'm all for it.
I've got one.
Ready.
Yeah, no, completely. I have one more thing to say.
Please, it's going to be way more than just one thing to say. You don't have to stop speaking.
No, that's just as well, isn't it? I'm wondering if we can pause while I say this, just because I want to get your take on it.
Yes. So we did a little slight detour there, but the main point was you were talking about there's a little Elizabeth versus Lilli.
Yeah.
Say the difference between these two.
Yeah. So obviously you introduced me at the start as Lilli Badcock. Lilli Badcock is who I'm known as now, but my name is Elizabeth. Actually, it's Elizabeth Cole, because I've been married twice, as I said. So Lilli was the name that I came up with the help of my singing teacher, actually, when I started performing years ago. And I started recording my own songs, and he was like, you need a really cool recording name. And he would always call me Miss Lilli. So Miss Lilli became my sort of stage name, and it became my persona. And over the years, in fact, I used to teach this. I had a whole alter ego part that I used to teach in singing lessons for people that were very scared or nervous to get up on stage, because it wasn't that I was nervous to get up on stage in the end. I definitely had the nerves in the beginning, but for me, it was more, Elizabeth had a lot of, like, she didn't feel like she was good enough, didn't feel like she could do it, sometimes just felt poorly, which I also think was actually deep down the fear that I wasn't good enough, but it would manifest as a cold, or I'd lose my voice. I would lose my voice a lot. In fact, this is now coming through. Anytime we had a big show in my choir, I would get laryngitis almost every single time. It became a thing. And I got very good at singing around that laryngitis. And I'm actually now, really good at helping other people find their voice when they feel like they've lost it. But my teacher at the time said, I wonder if that's your nerves. And I didn't think he was right, because I was like, but I don't feel nervous and I so desperately want to do it. But how poignant is that now, where I'm at, having just shared what we've shared? Yeah. I so desperately wanted to be heard. I wanted to do it. Something in me didn't feel safe, and it took my voice away.
Yes, 100%.
Wowza weezer. So
yeah.
Very much. And so what I shared with Sabrina off camera, and I feel like, Sabrina, I feel like this is an opportunity, people love getting the inside goss. I feel like we need to, to get access to the secret files, like you have to click here, but I don't know. But
yeah, that really could be like the extra podcast.
You need to, you're gonna have to, I don't know, burn your pants and send us naked pictures if you're gonna get access to that.
Yeah, we'll think about that as a future strategy, but for now, keep going.
We might not want to ask for that. That might be terrible. But yeah, so basically what came out of what I shared, and I really just wanted to get Sabrina's take on it, before we went forward with that. But it was essentially this thing that deep down who I am is Elizabeth, and Elizabeth got bullied in school, like was not actually very good at much. And that wouldn't, like, if I said that to my mum, she'd be like, that's a load of rubbish, you know, but I wasn't good at the things that were considered, I don't know, impressive at that point. Like if you were good at maths, that was impressive. If you were a great scientist, that was impressive. If you sang or danced, you were a bit of a weirdo, actually. And I danced from the age of 2. Even my whole dancing thing, though, was shrouded in all of these girls are going to go on to dance school and I'm not good enough to do that. Now, what I actually realize is I was always supposed to sing. I love to dance, but that was never going to be my thing. And if anyone's ever seen me on the dance floor at a party, you'll know that. But I own it now. I think my dance moves are brilliant. And I pick things up quickly, but it wasn't where my passion lied. And it was such a brilliant reminder that when we get, it's that thing about a fish climbing a tree. What's that saying? Like a fish can be brilliant, but if you judge it on its ability to climb a tree, it's useless, right? Like,
oh, that's great. Never heard that one, but yeah.
Have you not? No, it's brilliant. Like, that's the thing. Like, and I danced from the age of 2. Oh, this is so cool that this has come up, because this came up in hypnotherapy. I danced from the age of 2 till about 11 or 12. So that was a good chunk of those were my formative years spent in a place that I really didn't belong. And why was I there? Because and I don't know how this came about, but my mum signed me up or whatever, and I probably asked to go. But what came up in hypnotherapy ages ago was around the age of, I think it was 7 or 8, I didn't like it anymore. And I couldn't say I don't like it because I didn't want to be a disappointment, or I didn't want to be a pain. And I ended up, I remember dancing, God, now I've got energy coming. I remember dancing, feeling really stressful. I could never get my costumes in the right place. Like, that was Elizabeth, completely useless. Like, all the girls would be there with their costumes and their sparkly belts, and I've lost my sparkly belt, right? Because I don't know where I put it. Because actually, I'm pretty convinced I have ADHD, but nobody would have known that at the time. So I couldn't organize myself, and I wasn't graceful like the others. They said I had a long neck, but I had a curved spine and my butt stuck out, and you know, and I mean, the dance world is still relentless. So can you imagine how it was in the 80s?
It must have been incredibly painful and impossible.
I remember going into the splits and being shoved down into the splits because I wasn't all the way down, and smacking your bum if it stuck out. Like, we got yelled at, screamed at. It came around, man, the threads. Try and keep up.
I'm totally keeping up. I'm with you.
The fear came back. So when I started working for Starcast with the gorgeous Sam Holloway, I remember the first time we ever did a proper thing. It was like a day workshop, and we'd had kids come in the morning, they learnt a song, they learnt a dance, and then at the end of the day they performed for their kids. And I was up in the sound desk in the mezzanine level, ready to do the sound and the lights, and Sam was down. And Sam's a dance teacher, and she's a typical dance teacher, so she's disciplined. And as she was communicating with these children in her dancer way, I shrank to this big. I was physically shaking. I felt terrified. And it was just because, you know, she was like, oh, you know, you're not in that right line. Why have you got your words? You don't need your words. Why this? Like, very, very disciplined. And it's still, that's a dancer's way, really. It's never been my way. I never responded well to that. And all of the memories of the years of that came screaming back. And so the discipline didn't suit me. I knew I wasn't the best. And I have this thing where if I can't do something really well, I don't want to do it. Like, I like to be the best. I'm quite competitive in that way, but I feel like it's all the gear and no idea. So I quite often have the competitive streak and no ability to do it. So if you ever get on a quiz team with me, be aware of that, because I will bring I'll have all the chat, none of the ability though. But that's it. And you can see me doing it. I'm doing this apologetic thing and I mask it with humor, but I think there must be real pain under that.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, real pain under, actually, you're not really good enough to do that.
Incredibly painful.
Yeah.
And to not be seen to not be really seen as you. It's like you were constantly trying to fit yourself into whatever the structures were around you that were seen as worth something, value.
And I am still the master of that, even now. And even recently that's come up, because I know now I'm a sound Reiki master. So my work is spiritual, right? And I've tried very hard to be a typical spiritual person, and I just can't. I mean, I'll be honest, I had a crystal that my friend left me when she died, and I put it in the washing machine because I left it in my pocket. Like, I just don't think about, oh, I need to put that in the moonlight, or I don't think, oh, there's a nice mountain, let me go meditate on it. I've tried to do tarot. I've tried to do all the things, and I'm not saying those things aren't good and
but you
brilliant.
were trying to be.
I was trying to
the
be
ballerina, the
who am
thingies,
I?
the whatevers.
Yeah.
And you
Who
weren't
am I? Who am I?
letting
Who am I?
yourself be
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And it's vital that I'm me, because until I'm me, I can't create what I came here to create. That's why I felt stuck for so long. That's why the money hasn't been coming. That's why nothing I tried worked, because my guides were never going to support me doing the thing that I wasn't really supposed to do.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I love how this has all just gone ting, 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 and here we are in this magical moment.
That was beautiful watching you put the pieces together.
Yeah.
Are you happy to keep going? Because I think this needs to be a full session until at least half past, so we have time to do all the energy work.
No, we're not. This isn't going to get done in 12 minutes.
We'll just split this into 2 episodes. It'll be perfect, because now people are going to be on a cliffhanger, be like, oh my God, what's next?
Yes. Yeah. Send you naked pictures. Get the access. Please don't send naked pictures to Sabrina or me, just full disclosure. You might have to edit some of this out, Sabrina.
No, we're not editing things, because we're not doing that. That's the whole point of what
that's the whole point
about.
Yes, babe. Exactly.
I even noticed that before I came onto the session. It's like I started thinking, oh, I better put some lipstick on. Oh, I better make sure my top looks nice. Oh, I better make sure the background's okay. And I thought, I don't do that for my client sessions.
Yeah.
Why do I need to do this just because it's going to be recorded?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that and thinking, I'm not going to go crazy doing all these things. I mean, I still did put lipstick on, but whatever. But I just decided, no, it's about being completely real as is, imperfectly real.
But I think we're in that place now where that's starting to happen. And so, and I put my makeup on too, and I put my hair in heatless rollers. The jury's still out. I don't know about it. I like this. It's very flat on the top. But anyway, I think eventually that is going to be how it is. We're not like, nobody's going to be driven by how somebody looks before they listen to them. But the truth of the matter is, at this point in time, if somebody's got a YouTube video of like if I'd come on with my mum bun and like my stained sweatshirt, would people have paid as much attention to that as if I've heat rolled my hair? No. The truth is no, because we're eking out of that era where how you looked was everything.
But how you look might hook you into the beginning. It doesn't hook you in for the whole
100%. No, exactly. And that's why we're going there. We have to go there. But
so, what I'm hearing, let me see if I can you've already done a beautiful weaving. How are you feeling actually before I go anywhere? Like, what are you feeling in your body?
Really pumped.
But what you said earlier really struck me. It was great that you caught yourself in the act when you said, oh, I realize I'm doing the humor thing, but there must be pain underneath. And it doesn't sound like you're feeling the pain. You just intellectually know there must be something.
Yeah, I mean,
away.
I did feel a little bit emotional. I get emotional when I think about little Elizabeth, because I think of Sophia.
What's the emotion that you feel?
Like, I want to cry.
Can you stay with that right now with me?
Yeah, because I would not for 1 minute let Sophia not be heard. Not for a minute.
Yeah. So just stay with that feeling of love and compassion that's behind those tears for a little Elizabeth, and how you really get. If you think of her as Sophia, it's easier for you to relate to her, right?
Yeah.
It's easier for you to relate with love to your daughter than it is to your little Elizabeth right now.
I feel like I've moved into where they're both the same. So when I talk about, that's why it makes me emotional, because when I talk about Elizabeth, it may as well be Sophia.
Great.
Because she is so similar to me, but she's so confident. And nobody's going to be telling her what she can and can't do.
I feel tears welling up for me too. So I feel like we're really accessing something really important right now. And I think that's really beautiful to see how both things go together. So the confidence and the little girl that nobody can say anything to her, like she's not gonna let it take her down. That the part that also has the sadness can also be embedded with that. It's not either or, but the thing is we split these parts off from each other. But when we can see them both at the same time, we can feel them at the same time, that's really powerful. The reason we don't let ourselves feel the tears, I think, is because we're terrified we're going to lose the confident one. Like we're terrified that one's going to go out the window and we're going to get flooded. I don't know if that's what if that resonates or if it's not quite that.
I think it would have resonated before. I feel like I'm such a big thinker anyway, such a deep thinker. Sophia has been such a gift. I was going to say I didn't know I was going to have her, but I think I did know I was going to have her, because after I had my 2 boys, and for people watching, Sophia is 5 years older than my middle son, so there's 5 years between them. After the boys were born, I would constantly wake up looking for the other one. And I was like, where's the other one? Where's the other one? So, and I found that weird because I consciously didn't think I was having any more because, childbirth. But I was constantly feeling like, where's the other one, in my sleep, And then when she was born, even that situation. So from the birth of Louis, which was completely disempowered because I had to be, what's the word? I had to have an epidural. Mm-hmm. So I obviously did it, but I couldn't feel it. So from the complete disempowerment of that, feeling so out of control, like I don't even know what's happening. First baby as well, like terrifying. To then Freddie, who shot out like a bullet out of a gun in the middle of the night, like what the hell, no time to prepare, no pain relief, like horrendous. And that was the reason why I was like, I'm done. We're not doing that again. We're absolutely not. Mm. To then having Sophia, where I also had no pain relief, but I felt so strong when she was born. I literally started to write a blog about it. I wheeled her to the ward myself. Wow. Like half an hour after I'd had her, because that's how strong I felt. I will admit the slight incline to the ward did take me out slightly. By the time I got to the top, I was like, wow. I could feel all of my insides trying to fall out. So I was like, it was probably a bit too much too soon. But that's how empowered I felt. And I felt her coming with every wave of pain. I knew she was coming. And it was such a mindset shift from when Fred was born. The pain was I was just terrified and screaming, I'm not doing this. Like, there's no way I'm going through with this. And they were like, you sort of have to. So her whole entrance into the world changed me, or I changed in order to hold her energy when she came, you know?
On that.
And so I feel like that would have resonated. The thing you said would have resonated. I would have been afraid. There's definitely been a large chunk of time where Lilli didn't feel like me, and it was a mask. And I was like, really, I'm this like absolutely useless twonk of a person in the background. I genuinely don't feel like that now. I feel like Lilli and Elizabeth are here. The work I did, I saw us, it was like a hug, and then they became the same. So again, I feel like the big work got done, but these are the what did we call them? Stragglers, right?
Yeah.
There's still elements of that. And I can still get in a situation where I forget for a minute that I'm Lilli Badcock. I put an F in the middle, and then I wasn't sure if I was allowed to swear on here. I might have done already.
You're absolutely allowed, because I swear. So there you go.
Cool. So I have a thing where I empower myself by putting the word fucking in the middle of my name. So I'll say I'm Lilli fucking Badcock, and that's what I will say if I start to get in a headspace of, I don't know if I can do it. Yes, you can, because you're Lilli fucking Badcock, and that's who you came here to be. And so I've moved from feeling like this alter ego is fake and that I'm a fraud and afraid that everyone's going to find me out, to realizing that actually she was who I was always becoming. That's who Elizabeth was going to be. And I just didn't have whatever I needed at the time. I didn't have it to be that person, but I found the way to do that. And now they stand side by side. However, Elizabeth has still been a little bit back here. And as I've just registered my company as a limited company, it's brought up all my fear of money, because Elizabeth is shit with money, can't do maths, failed at maths at school, like horrendously failed at maths, retook it and failed worse. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so bad. And you know, I could feel myself even in my meeting this week. I had a meeting with an accountant, like what a grown-up thing that is to do. And I had this meeting and she was saying about all the things I would have to pay for, like, you know, the tax you pay, the corporation tax, how terrifying does that sound? And I could feel the fear in my stomach, but it was sandwiched between absolute assuredness that I could do this. So that's where I'm at. It's like, I'm aware that that's probably still the case in certain situations, but I also feel like I've empowered myself massively to even register my company, like as a limited company, is a massive step, huge, because that I've told companies house that I exist. So now my company exists. If somebody looks for it, they find it, you know? So huge shifts have been happening. And I just think this is perfectly timed.
Huge shifts. Yeah. And at times of huge shifts, things are there normally that bubble up that need to be integrated.
And it's ready to release. It's ready to do that now, for sure. I think there was something else I was going to say about that, the money thing. Again, it's that Elizabeth, it's that disempowerment. And that feeling of, like, I've been feeling since my 30s, I should have this figured out by now. Why can't I be a proper adult? Why do I keep needing to ask my dad for help? Why do I have to keep asking my mum? Like, why am I so useless? Why do I let people down when it comes to money? And I'm always going to stay stuck, blah, blah, blah. I turned 45 last week and I had a really profound, it wasn't a dream, but I woke up and knew I'd had an angelic experience. It's really weird. I saw nothing, but I knew I'd had the conversation. And the message was basically, everything you desire has already been done. It's been done in the energetic field. Your job as the human, though, is to facilitate the opening of the portals that will bring those things in. So in other words, the money is here, but if you don't send those invoices and if you don't create that business opportunity or follow whatever it is you're being guided to do, it will only ever be energetic.
It'll only ever be a potential rather than a
right.
reality.
So that was my message. And I've come into 45, like, I feel like I'm 45 and I'm doing my big girl things. Like, I finally feel like I'm doing it. So yeah, very long-winded answer, but it would have resonated. I feel like now I am in this different place, but I still feel like Elizabeth, she's just got more to be healed.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, in my experience, what we need to do when we get to these up level stages in life where we're jumping to the next level outside of our comfort zone until that point, is the stragglers, you know, the little Elizabeth, the young parts need to come with us. And normally they need some extra help to feel safe to come with us. So does that resonate as an idea? Absolutely.
And I just want to say something as well for complete disclosure, because this is the whole point of doing this in a public way. When those tears bubbled up and you were saying, sit with it, that was massively uncomfortable. And I didn't let it all the way out. And I've just asked myself why, and lack of control is what came back.
Okay, that's very helpful to know.
Because I can't do the single tear beautiful thing that people do in films where they just release a few tears and they're done. Like, it's and I don't know if I can come back once I go there. And that's where I feel like I know that I must and I will, but I will do that on my own. And that's still how I feel, and that's how I've always been. But because I wanted to say it.
To do it on your own than
maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just feels like it almost, God, this is huge. It almost feels like it will be a waste of time if I just sit here crying. Like, how powerful is that? Because of course it's never a waste of time.
But that's what maybe, that part of you feels about those emotional states. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, and I can be really cold with people that cry around me as well. Not in sessions, by the way. Just to caveat that for anyone that's going to come and work with me.
We're normally very different, exactly, completely different thing doing it for our clients than it is in our personal life. We have other dynamics that show up. You're allowed to be a human being, Lilli.
Yes, of course. I remember, this has just come to mind, so I'll share it. I remember falling out with a friend when we would have been, we must have been 16 or 17, maybe 18 or 19. It was like, you know, mid to late teens. And she'd really pissed me off. So I told her, because I don't know how to not do that. Like, I'll tell you straight, if you've pissed me off, you don't have to worry about that. And she started to cry, but it felt disingenuous. And I felt like she was trying to trick me. And I got so angry with her for crying. And I was like, don't even talk to me while you're crying. Like, sort yourself out and come back when you've pulled yourself together. Like, I was really livid with her. And I felt like, I can't work with you when you're just sobbing like a little brat. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was livid with her.
Yeah.
And I'm still like that. Oh God, this happened as well. When I split with my first husband, he was very emotional and I was cold as ice. His tears irritated me. Like, what are you doing? Be a man. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course you can live without me. I couldn't bear the thought that he felt so disempowered by me leaving. Don't put that shit on me. So I was really cold-hearted at that point as well. And there's been lots of things around that. So yeah, you can see how it all ties in.
Super helpful for sharing that. So when you said that, I was livid with her. So that dynamic that you described, the part of you going cold, getting angry at the other person, crying, to me suggests that that dynamic is inside you or has been inside you.
Yeah.
Different parts of you. So the way we relate to other people in that state is normally how we relate to ourselves in that state. So I just wonder about little Elizabeth that was disciplined, that was shut down, that had to then develop a part of her that held it together for her. This part was kind of like your protector, your defender, the one that puts the sleeves up and says, right, we're doing this. So also the cheerleader inside you. But I'm curious if a part of that is also a cold, punitive, don't be silly, don't be a crybaby, you're a waste of time if you go there. Definitely don't do it in front of that person, only do it in private.
Yes.
And I'm voicing that because I want to bring these into the circle of healing, to heal the relationship between these, because what that's doing is repeating the trauma that you already experienced of little Elizabeth being told she's not okay as she is, there's something wrong with her, she has to do it this way or that way in order to adapt. And as a kid, you would have had to do that to survive. So that was absolutely appropriate. But now you're an adult and you're realizing that you actually, not only can you be who you really were this whole time, not only is that an option, but it's almost like you're realizing that's your only option, because actually you couldn't be anything else anyway. So the part of you that protected you did a great job, and it can still do a great job for you when it comes to things like giving you an appointment with the accountant and helping you do these things that are maybe scary to do.
Yeah.
But also it could be involved in this heart thing that you started with.
Yeah.
Where it's something has blocked your heart from being fully open, fully radiant, fully seen. Because when we block one part of our emotional experience, we block all. So when we block our tears, we block our radiance.
Right.
We block something, even though you have a fucking lot of radiance. You're a gorgeous, radiant being, and you're that, Lily. You're beautiful, and you're open-hearted, and you're singing, and but you, like all humans, have a part that learned that there was something that you had to control in all this. You couldn't let it completely wild because it's going to go crazy. And so I think that might be where something has been suppressed and blocked. And that could be the source of life force block and money block and success block, whatever that means to you, visibility, leadership block, wound. I came across something the other day that I just made up, leadership wound. Those of us who are meant to be leaders, the wounding we've had in all the ways we've been stopped from being in our full power comes up as we try and step into the next level.
Yeah.
Does that resonate intuitively?
Hugely. And I've just written a couple of notes down as well. As you were talking just then, singing is the only time I wouldn't feel like I had to stop it. So beautiful. Singing is how I have been able to. So I think this is why I am radiant, and it's not as blocked as it maybe would have been, because I've always sung. I always sang if I was struggling, and I would shut myself in my room and just sing.
I mean, you have it. You already have within you the unlimited being that you are. Singing is the way of expressing that. There's a part of you, though, that would shut that down by giving you laryngitis and all these things.
Right. Yeah.
So you've always had it. It's understanding the places in your energetic and emotional structures where there might still be things that are a little bit blocked off.
The other memory that came up from that was two things. First of all, you were saying about little Elizabeth learning that crying is wrong or a nuisance or whatever, and I just thought, you know, my mum never cries, like never. I've seen my mum stand at funerals of really close people and she might have like a watery looking eye. I've never seen or heard my mum sob, or my dad for that matter, but my dad's a little more emotional, especially now in older age, and now he's got grandchildren. I feel like these children wreck us. I'm definitely more emotional since I have my children, for
sure. They wreck you or they open you.
Oh, exactly. No, of course. And they come
de-ice you.
Yeah, that's been a huge shift for me as well. And this might be relevant, might not, I don't know. But I've always had this idea, and this is an Elizabeth belief, that if someone is older than me, they know better. And so I don't know better. But that started to be healed when I worked with my nanny when she was 94, and I taught her how to sing when she thought she couldn't. And I was like, well, hang on a minute, because you're 94 and I don't know how old I was at the time, but I wasn't anywhere near that. And then since having my children, I've seen how anytime I think that I know better than them, I'm doing us all a disservice. And actually they teach me so much. And I think it's circular. Of course, I have experiences that they haven't had. And in that space, I get to be the parent and lead by example. But they know stuff too. They've come and they're untouched because they're brand new, especially Sophia. She's only 5. So they have this wisdom within them that we get to learn from as well. But yeah, so I realized
that's very important what you said about, because I did wonder about what you saw and witnessed in adults around you as far as expression of emotion is concerned. So
yeah, my mum and my nan, yeah,
you never saw them cry. You never saw that that's a normal expression. So you would have learned that control of emotion thing, which is of course also a cultural thing. You know, I'm aware that I'm Italian. I grew up in a very different culture, and the norm there is to be highly expressive of emotions, almost to the other extreme. So, you know, there has been a general culture here. I'm sure already changed massively since the generation of your parents, but that I see again and again in a lot of clients that have grown up in English culture, that's an important part to acknowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
Put that in the field, because of course that would have been the defense you would have learned. That's the more natural defense to use.
Yeah. But those women, like the women I grew up around, my mum, my nannies, like my grandmas, that would be like all really strong women.
I was going to say really strong
like
women.
Ironclad warrior women that you don't fuck with.
Yeah. And that's important, is to realize that strength is really important. So we're not demonizing the strength.
No.
And
but there's strength in release as well.
In the beginning of the session, you said being seen is weak. So the word weak came out.
Yes. Yeah.
So, because I think in that context, being seen means being seen in all of you, not just confident go-getting Lilli. So being seen in all of you possibly is weak. And so to have full visibility in our gifts, we need to really come to a place of feeling safe to be fully whole and being fully seen. Doesn't mean we have to go around wearing our hearts on our sleeves and telling everything to everyone we meet.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. It's an energetic thing. It's an energetic safety in being whole, for want of a better word. That feels like that's the energy piece, and it's 11:11 right now.
I love it. The only other note I made, and it's relative, was when I went to the doctor with my anxiety symptoms, I was told countless times, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. And I kept going back saying, but I feel sick all the time and I'm dizzy and I black out when I drive. Like, there can't be nothing. And it was very much that feeling of, you're making it up, we haven't got time for this, there are people who are really sick, you're not really sick, blah blah blah. And then eventually the doctor saying, oh yeah, what you have is anxiety. But that, again, underlining,
that would have repeated that whole feeling like there's no point
yes,
telling anyone, because they're not going to pay attention, believe me, validate me, empathize with me. Again, they're going to tell me off. An authority figure is going to tell me, oh, you're inconvenient, that's a waste, you're wasting my time.
100%. So I just noted that down.
Important piece in this is, when this is the thing, it's like, we can think, why do we need to change this if I've got this amazing part of me that learned to power through and it works? Why do I need to go and feel the part that I've thought was weak and vulnerable? Well, the main reason is, when we don't integrate those younger parts, they show up usually as a physical ailment of some kind. That's typical, because anything that is emotionally suppressed, where we're not allowing ourselves to feel it, the body holds it, and so in some way the body will get to a point where it starts expressing it. So that's the other piece important for people to realize, because that typically happens to a lot of people. They can go their whole life thinking they're absolutely fine, and then have a crisis and stuff starts coming out in some way, whether it's physical or emotional, and they have no idea where it's come from. And it's very confusing, and it's typically during times of growth. And it's also very typical when you start your own business. I work with a lot of sort of entrepreneurs, and it's like, there's nothing quite as confronting as that, because that's when you don't have some other authority that's dealing with everything. So you're your own boss. So all of these parts and all of these themes around control or not control, and they are bound to get triggered. So
the amount of millionaires with autoimmune conditions, I have a whole theory about that, but that's going to have to be for another. I'm so like, if I didn't think that this was what I'm supposed to do, I feel like that could be something I could definitely get lost down that rabbit hole. Like, the amount of people that get the thing they were aiming for and then can't energetically hold it, and they get sick. It's so common, more common than anyone wants to admit. Very
interesting. That's an area I've always been fascinated in helping people with, because I'm not a millionaire, but I went through that with my physical health stuff. So that's one of the areas I really love helping people with, as you know. So let's do some energy work for you before we finish the session, with all of the stuff that we've brought into the circle.
That's a hell of a lot.
Well, I wouldn't expect it any other way. I like to go deep. And
I did laugh when you suggested this might be a half-hour thing. I was like,
well, that was me pretending to go along with whatever fucking thing I thought I should be doing, which clearly is not what I'm supposed to do. So everything you voiced about yourself is, of course, the same medicine that I'm journeying, because that is usually what happens.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Okay. So let's go into sacred space. And normally I would take you through the sort of the longer visualization of that, but I feel like I want to go straight into it. So what I'd like you to do is, since you already work with energy, is connect with your version of sacred space, whatever that means. And I'm going to call on the blue diamond healing field, which is a beautiful field that connects us with the highest dimensions of true ultimate source in your higher self and mine. Now I'm going to invite the blue diamond field in, and the pillar of light come through the center of your body, through your feet, of pure light source, down into the earth, sending this pillar of light all the way down into the heart of the earth, and specifically New Earth grid. Anchoring in here, activating a releasing counterclockwise vortex, getting your Merkaba spinning and releasing everything that's no longer serving, and alchemizing everything that needs to be heard, felt, seen, loved, transformed, and welcomed, and composted through the earth energy. And then allowing this energy to travel back up through the earth, up through your feet, up through your body, through every chakra, every cell, every energy center, going through every point of your 12-point grid. Don't worry if you don't know what that means. We're just setting the intention. Coming up through your crown, sending it all the way up into the heart of your divine essence, your higher self. And then into infinity and beyond, past all universes and realities, into the heart of pure source, pure creation, ultimate source. From here, we're going to activate the clockwise spinning Merkaba, the help of the blue diamond vortex. It's going to bring fresh new energy from source to break through. We're clearing out the old and we're bringing in the support. This is a real quickie visualization. Are you doing okay so far?
All good, thank you.
Okay. Okie dokie. We're going to let these counter-rotating Merkabas do the work as they're spinning with these beautiful divine vortices. And I'm going to tune into your field. Do I have your permission to tune into your field?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So I'm being guided to ask about reversals for little Elizabeth. So from little Elizabeth's point of view, can you say the statement, and I'm going to muscle test it over here with my own self-test. Can you say it's safe for little Elizabeth to be fully seen?
It's safe for little Elizabeth to be fully seen.
How does that feel when you say that?
Yeah, feels good.
You had a yes?
Mm-hmm.
I get a no with I muscle test. But that doesn't mean I'm right or necessarily. I always want to know what each
I would be guided by what you're getting, because I am the master of I don't even know what the word is, but
okay.
like my intention is really strong.
Yeah.
And it can cloud what's really there.
Yeah.
Which can keep me stuck, you know?
So try saying I'm fully connected in all ways to little Elizabeth.
I'm fully connected in all ways to little Elizabeth.
I get a no.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like there's still a part of me that thinks she's going to fuck it all up.
Yeah. So the reason you're kind of saying, yes, of course it's safe to be seen, I've got that intention, I think you're speaking from the part that's been holding it together and thinks she's going to fuck it up.
Mm.
And that part has served you very well, and we're very, very grateful to that part. And it makes sense that because she thinks that, she's not fully trusting little Elizabeth, which makes sense. Little Elizabeth is a young child, and you don't necessarily want the young child to rule the whole house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that disconnection, so from your deepest wisdom, I'm going to ask this question, is that not full connection related to what you're feeling in your heart? I'm getting a yes. There's something in your heart that we need to address. Yes. Feels like there's a separation in the heart and we need to bridge that separation.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel true?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'd like to invite you to do is take a deep dive into your heart. Imagine that you're going on a journey into the landscape of your heart, which is a whole energetic field of its own. So I want you to imagine that you're going on a journey and you're landing in this world that is your heart, and it's this huge world expanding in all directions. It's got a landscape. And I want you to tell me what you see or feel or sense when you arrive fully there.
It's like a wilderness. It's like black, like it's been burnt out.
Okay. I'd like you to keep exploring it, like just walking around, noticing the landscape, how it's been blacked out.
So it's got like, is it stalagmites and stalactites, when they like in caves, it's like that. So it's not a smooth landscape, it's all it's cavernous. But there's in the top, one of the top parts, I think the left side, there's light up there, like light chinking through. So there is a little part of it that's lit up, but most of it is not. Most of it looks like it's just been like abandoned.
Okay. So I'd like you to really tune into that part that's been abandoned, maybe even touch it with your hands or sort of breathe with it for a moment. And I'd love for you, if you feel safe to do so, connect with it and ask it what it needs, or ask it anything that any message it has for you, or anything it needs to share with you.
I feel like I need to voice a fear that's coming up.
Great, please do.
It's the fear is, if I heal this, what's that going to mean for all the choices I've made up to this point? So relative to my relationship, my marriage, you know, things I've started, like friendships and groups, like, what is it going to mean if I heal this? And then does that mean that I'm potentially going to lose that? And of course, consciously, I know that if it's aligned and right for me, then no, because I actually, like, where my marriage is concerned, I feel like it's extremely healthy. And I guess my fear is, did I go into that from this other place? And then if we heal that, where does that leave me? Because right now my home life feels secure and safe, and I don't want to.
Completely understand. An important voice the fear. So what I'd like you to do is, don't open your eyes if that's okay. I want you to stay with what you're feeling and what you're sensing. If that feels safe, you can absolutely, of course, open them at any point if you don't feel safe. But what I'd like you to do is, at the same time, tap the side of the hand. We've done EFT before, right? You know.
Yeah.
So tap the side of the hand, and I want you to voice with me, even though it doesn't feel safe to fully heal this.
It doesn't feel safe to fully heal this.
Because I don't know what's going to happen to my relationships.
Because I don't know what's going to happen to my relationships.
What if it all falls apart?
What if it all falls apart?
What if I question all my choices until now?
What if I question all my choices until now?
What if all the things that have been my safety get destroyed?
What if all the things that have been my safety get destroyed?
Anything else you want to voice? Just tap and say whatever comes to mind.
I think we covered it. I think that's just it. Like, what if I made bad choices from the disempowered place? And then where does that leave me? Who does that make me? Like, who am I if that's not who I am?
Oh yeah, and even though I'm terrified of losing who I thought I was.
And even though I'm terrified of losing who I thought I was.
Even though I have no idea who I'm going to become.
And even though I have no idea who I'm going to become.
And that doesn't feel safe.
And that doesn't feel safe.
And I'd rather keep everything as I've known it to be.
And I'd rather keep everything as I've known it to be.
Because that's the sensible thing to do.
Because that's a sensible thing to do.
And safe.
And safe.
And that's how I need to protect all of my parts.
And that's how I need to protect all of my parts.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway with all of this.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway with all of this.
Keep tapping the side of the hand. What are you feeling or noticing?
I feel like towards the end, when I said about being afraid of breaking out of who I've been, that's not true. I'm not afraid of that now.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I'm not. It doesn't, like, even if it's a bit scary, it would be so much worse to stay stuck.
Yeah. So tap the chin point under the lip and the chin. So tap that. It would be even more scary to stay stuck.
It would be even more scary to stay stuck.
This chin point is particularly good for identity issues around identity, issues around shame, issues around who are we really. Tapping on the nose as well, another good one for a sense of self. Under nose, underneath the nose.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
Perfect.
I knew that as well.
No, don't be sorry. You're doing everything does not happen as a coincidence. Tap under the eye as well.
I was having half a thought actually when you said to get to the nose. It's because everyone in my close circle doesn't understand. They won't understand who I'm going to be. That's where the fear's coming from.
Yeah,
that's like what it.
Yeah, that's why you fear of losing the relationships, because the fear of you being you directly links with your who you feel yourself to be in relationship. Absolutely. Yeah. So tap the side of the little finger, heart meridian. Then on the inside, the other side. Perfect. Yeah. Tapping with any fears around losing your relationships, losing your close bonds. Tapping the side of the middle finger. Yeah, great. So what I feel we're tapping with here is not just a reversal, but a reversed part. So a part that turned reversed to protect you, to keep you close to your loved ones. In order to be loved, I had to do X, Y, Z. I had to make sure I didn't cry or not cry too much, or not burden, or do my best, or, you know, all of those things. Let's go back to the side of the hand. Even though I'm scared, I will no longer be loved.
Even though I'm scared, I will no longer be loved.
If I fully integrate my little Elizabeth and her vulnerabilities.
If I fully integrate my little Elizabeth and her vulnerabilities.
And if I fully allow all of me to be seen.
And if I fully allow all of me to be seen.
And at the same time, I know I can't be fully successful unless I allow all of me to be seen.
And at the same time, I know I can't be fully successful unless I allow all of me to be seen.
And I'm in a double bind. I'm either successful and unloved, or loved and unsuccessful.
And I'm in a double bind. I'm either unsuccessful, unloved, or successful and unloved.
Yeah, is that correct what I'm saying? Because I'm channeling here. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is there anything you need to tweak around that?
No, just a little realization has come up as I'm saying that I recently had a conversation with both of my parents on the phone where I openly sobbed because I was so frustrated with the situation. And so I know that even though that fear's there, I know it's not true. I know that the people that really do love me, it really won't matter what I do or who I become, because they love my heart and soul.
Yeah. So I want you to speak to the little part of you that learned. So for whatever reason, I'm hearing 7-year-old, the part of you that learned that she wouldn't be loved if she showed certain younger parts of her, certain emotional parts of her. It's almost like as you tap, like speak to her and let her know what you've just said to me now, what you realize, in a really, loving and compassionate way, like letting her know that you get why she thought what she thought at the time, from her mindset. Yeah, so just let the words flow in whatever way come.
You want that out loud?
Does that feel okay to do it out loud?
Yeah. So to my 7-year-old, I just like, you can speak up and say what you don't want to do anymore. It doesn't mean anything. And then you might get to do the thing you really want to do, which is sing, which you already know, because you keep asking all the dancers if you can sing in the shows anyway. You already know what you want to do, and it's completely safe to ask for that.
Okay, now what I'd like you to do is switch hands. It's just going to feel a bit weird, and speak from your 7-year-old's voice. Just channel. Ask her to come through you now.
She just feels she's totally swamped. She's actually not speaking. She's just shaking her head.
Okay, good. Just be present with her if that's okay. Let her be here. Be present with her together. We see you. You're overwhelmed. You're shaking your head. This feels too hard. Too big. I'm going to ask Source to run the healing codes to bring the new Earth Alchemy protocol healing to her and all that she's been holding and all that just felt too much. And she just didn't know what to do with it. She couldn't speak. She couldn't say. She had to protect everyone. Herself. Let's just give her all our love right now. You tap the side of the little finger, the heart meridian. What are you noticing right now? What's happening?
I've got tears pouring out of my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not mine. Well, they are mine, but they're not mine today.
Yeah.
They're mine from then.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. What is she feeling? What is your 7-year-old feeling right now?
So she did have that confidence, but then when something she said or something she did had a bad outcome, and so she just decided that she wouldn't do that again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, speak as your 7-year-old self. Tap the side of the hand. Even though that went really wrong when I spoke up,
Even though that went really wrong when I spoke up,
and I decided I would never do it again.
and I decided I would never do it again.
It didn't feel safe.
It didn't feel safe.
It didn't feel worth it.
It didn't feel worth it.
I had to shut it all down.
I had to shut it all down.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself with this.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself with this.
And I get completely why I did that.
And I get completely why I did that.
I didn't know there was any other option.
I didn't know there was any other option.
I couldn't have known.
I couldn't have known.
I was alone with it.
I was alone with it.
Is that correct? I'm sort of channeling here. What else is coming up? Voice, whatever comes to mind.
There's a deep ache in my belly, which is just interesting timing.
Yeah, deep ache in your belly. Good. I want you to rest the tapping and keep your eyes closed. Stay with this ache and repeat after me. There's a part of my being that already knows.
There's a part of my being that already knows
how to love, embrace, heal, and release.
How to love, embrace, heal, and release.
This ache in my belly.
This ache in my belly.
All that it represents.
All that it represents.
Its point of entry.
The point of entry.
All of its roots and causes.
All of its roots and causes.
All of its effects on me.
All of its effects on me.
All the body memories imprinted in me.
All the body memories imprinted in me.
That part of my being.
That part of my being.
Is willing to inform the rest of me now.
Is willing to inform the rest of me now.
It's doing so now with love, grace, and ease.
It's doing so now with love, grace, and ease.
My mind, body, heart, spirit, and belly.
My mind, body, heart, spirit, and belly
are receiving this information.
Are receiving this information.
Take a deep breath. Information transfer is now complete. Say the words, please.
Information transfer is now complete.
Take another deep breath. What are you noticing now?
I can't feel anything in my tummy now.
Is there anything else happening that you're feeling?
I've got tingly legs.
Mm-hmm. And how does your 7-year-old appear to you now?
She's perked up a bit. She looks more playful.
Mm-hmm. Does she need anything from you right now? From us?
I don't think so.
Okay. I want you to thank her and just really acknowledge her. Thank you for showing up for us, for revealing herself, for showing herself so we could see her and hear her. We really care. We really want to see her, and we really want to hear her, and we really want to support her and love her. Can you feel that as a true feeling?
Yeah.
And just staying with this for a bit longer, just take a few breaths as she receives that. I'm going to ask us to run the recalibration activation to help integrate all that's happened today with grace and ease. Does this feel like a safe place to stop the work for today? Does there anything more that needs to occur before we do that?
No, it feels good.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to bring all your energy back down from this pillar of light that was expanded into all those different directions. Those vortices, bring them all back down, feeling it all integrating down, 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 bringing it down into your crown, bringing it down your body, bringing it into your belly, bringing it into your womb space, down your legs, into your feet, and grounding this energy into the earth, and allowing all of this beautiful energy of yours to collect around you in a cocoon of light, sealing up your energy field, closing portals to all these other dimensions, feeling this cocoon holding you and all your parts and all your ages, and grounding and anchoring this into the earth safely. So you're bringing all of you fully back into the here and now. When you feel ready, gradually coming back into the room in your own time. So taking your time to reorient to the space that you're in, to the here and now version of you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good.
How did it feel to get in touch with that emotion?
Yeah, it felt overdue. It's like I'd opened that door but not gone all the way in previously. Do you know what I mean? But I saw her in the place where I used to dance. It was like a big, I don't even know what it was, a real ugly building. It was a massive industrial place with it had loads of different rooms and like different floors and stuff. And it had a big stage space, but then loads of rooms as well. And I saw her walking out of it, like as if to say, I don't enjoy this anymore. Like, I don't want to do this anymore,
yeah,
you know?
So she did the thing that she would have liked to do at the time. Yeah, you saw her do that.
Yeah.
Say no. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for going
Thank
there.
you.
My sense is there's definitely more
Yeah.
explore in that landscape, and it just felt like that was a good completion.
Yeah.
Does that feel safe? Do you feel like you're fully back?
Yes. Yeah. I saw when you were saying to bring the energy back, I quite often see the ultraviolet here, and then it was a triangle, and then it was like pulsing pink and purple as you were calling it all back in. So yeah, very cool.
Oh, beautiful. That sounds like some more energy came in as well.
Yeah.
Good. So let yourself integrate, drink plenty of water.
Yes.
If you need to move your body, do that. If you need to lie down for a bit, do that. If you need to go outside in nature, just follow your intuition about what you need.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
we'll continue this next time with whatever comes up. So just notice what emerges naturally.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah. I'll keep notes. I'll keep you informed.
Okay. So I'll stop the recording here. I won't end yet, but I'll stop the recording. So Thank you, all of you who watched as well. And know that you will be getting benefits from watching and getting healing for the parts of you that have resonance with some of this. We'll all recognize bits of us in what was shared today. So thank you for sharing your healing with all of us, Lilli. That's incredible.
Welcome. It's my pleasure.